So for our first one, okay, we have an element plus an element making a compound. What kind of reaction is that? So it's a synthesis reaction. So that was one of the 3 marks, was identifying the type of reaction. Guys, a few people lost marks on this because they just didn't read the question carefully enough and know what they were being asked to do. Okay, I had a number of people who didn't write the word reaction for the first 3 reactions. Okay, I mean, if you didn't do that, that was a mark. Okay, all right. So then we need to write it out in words. So this is beryllium plus oxygen gives us beryllium oxide. Okay, and then to balance, only oxygen is currently out of balance, so a 2 here would fix that, and then everything else would be good. All right, everybody follow me on that. Okay, so the important skills, guys, that we have to be able to demonstrate is, first off, or are, because there's more than one, okay, are that we have to be able to identify a reaction type. Okay, just by looking at the reactants, we have to be able to identify the reaction type. Sorry, I need 2 berylliums. Yes, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Yes, absolutely, you would need 2 of those. So we need to be able to identify the reaction type just from looking at the reactants. And that should be easy because we only learned 5 reactions and their reactant patterns are all different. Okay, they're all significantly different. Okay, they all have something that will make them identifiable. All right, for number 2, I have an ionic compound reacting with an element. What kind of reaction starts like that? Single replacement. Okay. Okay, and that's going to be the important first step for being able to predict the products of a reaction. All right, writing this out in words, we have calcium carbonate plus lithium gives us lithium carbonate plus calcium. Should you have capital letters in any of these? Okay. As long as you didn't make that mistake too many times on your quiz yesterday, I didn't dock you marks. If you had capital letters everywhere, I did. Okay, one here or there, honest mistake. Everywhere, you weren't listening when I said don't write capital letters. Okay, so remember, no capital letters. Then we need to balance this thing. Right now, the only thing that's out of balance is lithium. Okay, there's 2 of them over here. So I'm going to put a 2 here and then just double check everything. How many carbonates are there? 1. How many carbonates over here? 1, right? Okay, there's 1 on each side. There's 1 calcium, okay, and 2 lithiums on both sides. So now we're good. Questions on that one? Okay, for number 3, we have an ionic compound reacting with another ionic compound to form 2 new ionic compounds. What's the only reaction that goes like that? That is a double replacement reaction. Okay, so we have iron. And does iron have more than 1 possible charge? What do we do with ones that have more than 1 charge? Right, a lot of people forgot the Roman numeral on this one. Okay, this, okay, oxygen's a -2, so iron has to be a +2. So this is iron Roman numeral 2 oxide plus sodium bromide. Okay, gives us iron 2 bromide plus sodium oxide. Okay, that's what that one looks like in words. Okay, and now we got to balance the whole thing. I've got 2 bromines over here, but only 1 over here. So I'm going to put a 2 there. That gives me 2 sodiums. I have 2 sodiums over here. 1 oxygen, 1 oxygen, 1 iron, 1 iron. Looks good. Okay, so guys, next week, okay, when we've practiced this stuff really well and we're ready to move on, you'll get an assignment that has 30 reactions on it. Okay, and you'll be asked to do similar things to this. Okay, you'll be given 10 questions that have the reaction written out like this, and you'll be asked to identify the type, balance, and write it in words. All right, now, on this quiz, which question do you suppose gave people the most trouble? Like on the first 3, sorry, of the first 3 questions. Number 3. Okay, because it had? Right, it had Roman numerals. You suppose that that's something I would put in often in the 10 questions on the assignment? Probably. Okay, so just be aware of things like that, right? I need to test whether you know all the little rules, not just the basic rules. All right, on that same assignment will be 10 questions like these, where I give you the reaction completely, products and reactants in words, and you'll be asked to write it out in formula form, identify the type, and balance. These are harder. Okay? The reason these are harder, you make one mistake, you lose 2 marks out of 3. Why is that? If you make one mistake writing out the reaction, why will you automatically lose 2 marks? Exactly. If you write it out wrong, you won't balance it right either. Okay, so how important is dropping and swapping and getting all the formulas correct? It's pretty important. Okay. All right, so for our fourth one here, we have copper 2 nitride. So copper with a 2+ charge with nitride that has a -3 charge is going to be Cu3N2. Very common mistake here with people writing Cu2. Okay, ICU2, but it's not the right Cu in this question. Okay, this is copper with the 2+ charge. Okay, doesn't mean there's 2 of them, it means its charge is 2+. All right, it is breaking down into nitrogen gas and copper. Anytime you have a decomposition reaction, you need to look for special elements. Are any of those special? Yes, nitrogen is special and always comes as a 2. That was the most common mistake on that one. Okay, and guys, on that assignment, there will be many questions that will involve special elements. So you need to be on the lookout for those because, man, that snares people, okay, big time. And we have to remember which ones, well, we don't have to remember. We just have to look at our periodic table, right? They're colored in for you. Don't forget special elements come as their special number. All right, now we have to balance 2 nitrogens on both sides, 3 copper on this side, 3 copper on that side. And it, as we said already, it is a decomposition reaction. Okay, questions there? Ethan. You'll have to show it to me later. All right, number 5, I have, this is heptane, C7H16, and guys, on a test, if I gave you one that was beyond our prefixes that we've learned, this is, I would just write it out like this, okay? So you have C7H16, and it is burning in the presence of oxygen. Is oxygen special? Okay, to produce carbon dioxide and water. Okay, what kind of reaction is that? Combustion. Okay. The most common mistake I saw here was over applying the rule of 2. When do I use the rule of 2? If there's an even number of carbons. There is not an even number of carbons here. Therefore, I do not need to start this one with a 2. Okay, so I got 7 carbons over there. Okay, there's 16 hydrogens here. Now there are 16 hydrogens over there. And I'm balancing alphabetically because that's the other rule. Okay, so for my oxygens, 8 times 1 in the water, so there's 8 in the water. There's 14 here. 8 plus 14 is 22. 11 times 2 is 22. Okay, everybody follow the balancing there. Okay, always alphabetical. Okay, and for question number 6, we have potassium permanganate. Okay, potassium's a +1, permanganate is a -1, so that compound is dropped and swapped correctly. It is reacting with magnesium hydroxide. Why is that wrong? Okay, I need brackets around this, because if I don't, it's not magnesium hydroxide. It's magnesium with 1 oxygen and 2 hydrogens. And I had a lot of people who forgot the brackets here, okay? And that was automatically 2 marks off because you couldn't balance it correctly. You'll have the same numbers I had, but yours isn't balanced right because without these brackets, there's 1 oxygen on this side, not 2. Okay, everybody follow? That makes a big difference. All right, so it is a double replacement reaction. And we're going to swap the metals. So that means that potassium will end up with hydroxide. That's a -1 and that's a +1, so that's good. Okay, and magnesium we'll end up with permanganate. Okay, since permanganate is a -1, I'll need 2 of them to go with magnesium, which has a 2+ charge. Now I need to balance everything. So I'll start with hydroxide. There's 2 hydroxides over here. Now there are 2 over here. That gives me 2 potassiums. So I'm back over here to fix the potassium. That gives me 2 permanganates. There's 2 over there. And now I'm done. Okay. All right. Little details. It's always the little details that are the most frustrating. Okay, forgetting the little details usually winds up in big marks being lost. So we need to practice this some more so that we remember the little details. Okay. All right. I went over 7 at the end of class yesterday, so I'm not. Do I want to need me to go over that one again? Go over again. Okay. All right. So for number 7 here, we're predicting the products. Okay. And the first step in predicting the products is to identify what kind of reaction is going on, because from there we know what's going to happen. This is an ionic compound reacting with an ionic compound. That's a double replacement reaction. All right, in a double replacement reaction, we've always said we just swap partners. Okay, so the metals essentially switch partners with each other. That means that on this side, calcium will have bromine as a partner, and iron will have chlorine as a partner. Okay, now I need to drop and swap these. I've just made them partner up. Okay. This is a 2+ and this is a 1-, so that's going to be CaBr2. On this side, iron was a 3+, so it's also a 3+ over here. Okay, so this is going to be FeCl3. All right, so now that I've got all my dropping and swapping done, now I can balance the reaction. I don't want to try and balance the reaction before that or it'll never work, or I'll be doing it over again. Okay, so we'll start with bromine, because it's a large number, 3. Okay, so there's 3 bromine on this side, and there's 2 over here. What's the lowest common multiple of 2 and 3? 6. All right, so now there are 6 over here, and now there are 6 on the product side. In doing that, I alter the number of irons. So I've got to go over here and make sure I have 2 irons. When I do that, it gives me 6 chlorines, so I've got to go back over here and make sure I have 6 chlorines, and then double check my calcium because that's the only one I haven't done yet, and it's good. Okay.
So on question 7, did you get marked or?
Right, I didn't mark question 7 at all. Yeah. Okay. Just because we were starting to run short on time and I just needed to move on. I hadn't gone over it yet. I thought I would just see how you guys managed with that one. Okay. And from what I saw in the quizzes, people did a pretty decent job of figuring out how to do it. Okay. So I actually had no intention of marking 7 ever, but just to put it out there to see how people were doing. Okay. All right. So Ethan, you need to bring yours up and I'll have a look at it. Okay. For everybody else, I'm going to put the worksheet back up here on the board. I want you guys to keep working on that for a couple of minutes, and then I'm going to go over in more detail how to predict the products of a reaction.